Mr. King, a question. We were all talking in our private meeting beforehand about all the things that we were enjoying watching and binge watching for some of us. And a number of different people mentioned Baby Reindeer, which is one of yours. I think it's had 54 million views worldwide or something like that. So huge, huge success. But it was a difficult watch, wasn't it? And I just wonder what your duty of care rules are in series like that or productions like that. Were you concerned about the characters being identified and the effect that it would have on the characters concerned?
I mean, Baby Reindeer is an extraordinary story, and it is obviously a true story of the horrific abuse that the writer and protagonist Richard Gadd suffered at the hands of a convicted stalker. We did take every reasonable precaution in disguising the real-life identities of the people involved in that story in the making of the show.
She's been identified,
whilst
hasn't she?
Also striking a balance with the veracity and authenticity of Richard's story, because we didn't want to anonymise that or make it generic to the point where it was no longer his story, because that would undermine the intent behind the show. And we did also work very closely with the Susie Lampley Trust, who runs Britain's National Stalking Helpline, and also We Are Survivors, in promoting and launching the show. And they've said a lot subsequently about what the series has done to drive the conversation around this often quite taboo topic, particularly for male victims of stalking, and the amount of interest and inquiries it's driven to their organisations.
It was a fascinating story and very disturbing. But I understand that the woman concerned, the Martha in real life, has now been identified. So presumably this will have quite a significant impact on her life. She's Scottish, I think, and works in the legal profession and is now contemplating legal action, I understand, because of the effect it's had on her life. And I just wondered what your thought process was about her and the effect that this would have on her, because obviously somebody who's impacted by quite serious mental health problems.
Richard Gadd was very clear that that was not the intent of the show, that it should inspire people to try and track down the sort of real-life individuals. Ultimately, it's obviously very difficult to control what viewers do, particularly in a world where everything is amplified by social media. But fundamentally, this was about Richard's story and telling Richard's story in a truthful way. I personally wouldn't be comfortable with a world in which we decided it was better that Richard was silenced and not allowed to tell his story. So obviously, we are following the situation very closely.
Did you offer any contact or support for the Martha character in real life?
I cannot get into the specifics of what happened around the making of the show, because it wouldn't be appropriate for me to comment, and I don't want to give further fuel to some of the theories which are circling.